Hello, my name is Max Branta. I'm going to talk a bit about Edo's solution for creating country-by-country reports using data from Cognos Controller. What is required in a country-by-country report? There are 8 key indicators per tax jurisdiction based on values from the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. You also have to report number of employees per tax jurisdiction, information about business activities for all entities. You also have to report some identification about the entities, like tax identification numbers, some kind of company identification number or address. It depends on the tax jurisdiction where the company is in. The key indicators, 8 key indicators that are defined in the CVC XML schema. It is revenues, unrelated, related, and the total revenues, profit or loss before income tax paid on cash basis, income tax secured, current year, stated capital, accumulated earnings, tangible assets other than cash and cash equivalents. What we decided to do is set these key indicators up as summation accounts inside Cognos Controller and calculate from other values already available inside Cognos Controller. The names are the same as the key indicators, both the code and the name. Also, we have to set up a number of employees, also as a summation account. It's usually available inside Cognos Controller as well. If it isn't, you have to enter it on an account and sum it up to a summation account inside Cognos Controller. You also have to indicate what business activity each entity has. And there are 13 or 12 actually defined by OECD. You have to select one or more for each entity, or you can actually select other as well. But then you have to enter a comment inside the report to indicate what business activity this entity has. We decided to do this in Controller in a form. We set up each business activity as an account, and we have to enter it in a form for the last period of the year to indicate with a 1 what kind of business activity the entity has. And also for the last one, there is a mandatory comment for you to enter if there is a business activity that doesn't fit in any other of the other groups. So in Cognos Controller, we are able to create the tables from the OECD specification. This is table 1, how it looks in the documentation. And this is how we can create it in Excel link or T1. This is actually more detailed than it has to be. There are only the gray lines that should be reported to the tax authority or the receiving entity, and that needs to have this. We can also generate table 2, that is business activities, also in T1 or Excel. We have to enter some identification of the company, like tax identification number, address, and other identification numbers. For Edo.BEPS, we have decided to store this in the More Information tab in Cognos Controller in Company Define. There are 23 fields that you can be used for this, and you can name them so it makes sense, and we map them in the Edo.BEPS application. So here you can see we have entered tax jurisdiction, tax ID number, and other required values. So all the data required for the report can and are stored in Cognos Controller in a structured way. Table 1, Table 2 can be generated in Excel or Team 1. Information about address, company identification numbers, and stuff like that are available in Controller and can be fetched to an Excel report. However, the report should be in a specific XML format defined by OECD, and our solution, Edo.BEPS, can then create this required report in the required XML format. So I'm going to show you how the application looks like. The Edo.BEPS application is a web application, and it integrates with Cognos Controller. I'm quickly going to show how it's set up, and you select a controller database, and then you map things in the controller database, like the company structure, consolidation type, the actuality, usually actuals, but you can use any actuality, even linked actuality are supported. Closing version. In most cases, you probably only want to use reported values, but you can use any closing version or contribution version to include values. There are ways to exclude companies from the report. If you, for example, have adjustment companies where the values should be included in the report, but the company itself shouldn't be included in the list of companies, since only legal companies should be included there. You can exclude the company from the list and only use the values stored on the company. You can also exclude a company altogether if you for some reason need to do that. You can also set tax jurisdiction if it differs from the tax jurisdiction where the company is situated. For example, for branches in other countries. You have to select the tax identification number, some other kind of company identification number, and address. That can be one or more fields. If you only use one, you might have the address might be too long because you have a size limit on the field. So in this case, we're using 4 fields, one for each part of the address. And then save that. And then you have to set up the mapping between the accounts set up in Cognos Controller and the key indicator values. So you can use, and in this case, it actually automatically finds the account, since it has the same code and name as the key indicator. But you can use any summation account for this if you don't, for some reason, don't want to create summation accounts with the same name as the key indicator. You save that. The same thing goes for the business activities. They're also mapped to accounts inside Controller. You can select any account, but it automatically selects the accounts that have the same name as the business activity in the specification from OECD. You save that, and now it's time to create reports. A report is basically a combination of a group inside Controller and a chair. You can create it for any group, top group or subgroups inside the company structure. Usually you probably want to do it for top group, but we have the possibility to do it for any group inside a company structure. And then we add a new report. To the left, right, on the left here, we have the possibility to inspect the values that are going to be put in the report just for review. And here you have all the companies with its details. We have and business activities. Here we show all the activities for all the companies. You have the possibility to hide the columns that are not used since you don't want to see them, basically. You also have, these are the summary. These are the key indicators that are reported to the tax authority. You can also drill down to the company level, and these are not shown in the report, just the summation lines rows are included in the report, but for review you can see for each company where the value or comes from. And additional information, this is any information needed to understand the report. So you can enter it by, you can reference either part of the summary, a country, or in any combination. If you don't enter anything, it is a general comment for the whole report. Oh, oops. Like so. But you can also do it like that. Reference a summary item, or you can reference one or more countries. Let's see, and have it reference Sweden and France, and of course you can have so any combination, and you can have none or many of these additional information comments. And then we actually come to the last part, to create the report that is going to be sent into the tax authority or the receiving entity that will have this report. So you have to enter company information for the one that create this report, and it's the company actually pre-selected from the company structure, name of the person, phone number and email, and then you create the report. And those are created in two different kinds of formats. First of all, the XML report, that is the one that is actually sent in to the tax authority. It isn't easily read by a human, but it's for automatic processing by computer, so it's in a structured format, easy to read from for the tax authority. And also we generate an Excel file that is basically the same as the three tables in the documentation. So first of all, we have table 1, which are the key indicators. Table 2, business activities. In this, we actually added a column compared to the CBC template. This is the last one here, other entity info. If you, for some reason, have entered other as a business activity, then you have to enter a comment describing what this entity has as an activity. And the last one, the additional comments that we entered at the end. like so. And as I said, it's the XML report that is sent into the tax authority in Sweden, Skatteverket, and that they will have a testing site available in September 2017. I don't know about other tax authorities, but probably something similar. The Excel report is just for review, actually, because it's kind of hard to read XML report. That completes the demo of the Edo.BEPS application by Edo, and I hope you found it interesting, and thank you for listening.